Welcome to the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar series, where top hotel owners, operators, developers, suppliers, and brands connect to shape the future of luxury hospitality. For over 15 years, the ILHA has been the most influential association in the industry, with global chapters and the largest hospitality network on LinkedIn, 500,000 members strong. Our flagship event, Inspire, is the leading luxury hospitality conference in Europe and the US, where decision-makers network, share insights, and get deals done. Visit us at ilha.org.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Hello, hello. I'm Stacey Feely, president and co-founder of Drink. We are so happy to welcome everyone to the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar on beverage trends that are shaping the future of hospitality in 2025. Today's discussion is brought to you by Drink, a premium and sustainable borrower solution for outdoor beverages with a focus on driving circular sustainability. We're really excited about this topic and have an incredible lineup of industry leaders that I would love to introduce. So first up, we have Uzair Aydin. He is the Director of Food and Beverage from the Mandarin Oriental in Kanawan. We have Amy Wald, President of Greenlux Sustainability, specializing in sustainability advising and hospitality. We have Michael Shin, Resort Manager at the Mandarin Oriental Kanawan. We have J.P. Baloney, Director of Restaurants at the Ritz-Carlton in Dallas. And last, we have Alfredo Sanchez, the Beverage Director at the Pendry in Newport Beach. So thank you guys. Thanks to everyone for being here. And let's kind of get right into it. So our first question today is, how are luxury hotels leveraging multi-sensory cocktail experiences? So to really create those memorable moments for guests, and what role does storytelling play in some of those experiences? So Uzair, I'd love to start with you.
Great. So in luxury hospitality, a cocktail is no longer just a beverage. It's a story in each glass. So it's not just about serving five-star service, also it's about five senses storytelling. So when multi-sensory elements enliven the senses, it transforms a sip into a story, and each sip takes you on a different journey. So I live in Caribbean. The Caribbean is not just a destination for pristine beaches or turquoise waters. Each island has its own story. So our bartenders are taking our guests on a journey while they are crafting their best cocktails in front of our guests. So here on Canaan Island, we are collaborating with the local farmers who are harvesting the wild sea moss straight from the ocean. So sea moss is a type of seaweed grown in the Atlantic Ocean, Europe, and the Caribbean. So they are edible and have been used for centuries, which contains minerals and some antioxidants. So obviously, it's a very long process. And they harvest the sea moss, wash them multiple times to remove the salt, sand, and other impurities, and dry them under the sun. And finally, deliver into our hotel. So bartenders soak in the sea moss in a pure water, minimum 24 hours, to preserve the nutrients before blending into the finest cocktails at the bars. And also, this is like perfect for the smoothies when you're blending with the fresh local, the mango, pineapple, avocado, even the beetroot during the breakfast or any time of the day. So I strongly believe that the new luxury is not just how something tastes, it is how it makes you feel. So guests may forget the design of your bar, or they may forget the ingredients of the cocktail, but they will always remember how you make them feel. So the team over here, they are not only bartenders. We don't call them the mixologists. So they are all storytellers that prove to be the ambassador of their island as well as their unique culture. So this is just an example how we are creating memorable experience for our guests just by connecting with the cocktails.
That's awesome. I love that. It's really
Thank you.
unique how you really kind of bring in the culture of the different islands and how you then tell that story to the guests. That's amazing.
Right. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask another question, more so about this growing kind of sober curious movement, if you will. How are the hotels that you are seeing, and what are you guys doing to adapt beverage offerings to cater to the guests that are seeking some of those non-alcoholic options, but also without compromising on taste and presentation? And JP, how about you? You want to take this one?
Yeah, definitely take this one. I love this one. So yeah, when it comes to mocktails, right? So we cannot just make an easy mocktail and just take it out from the experience that you're looking for a cocktail, right? So in my experience in the past, we actually have created menus that have the same experience, same interaction, a great story, but in a mocktail side, that if the guest wants to add some spirit, we actually can, so we can spike it up. But the guests get the same experience in a non-alcoholic mocktail. Is part of the experience, right? So all the cocktails are made and based on the concept. So had a great experience. We actually had a in my last restaurant, we have a smoking cocktail. It's a green tea sensation. So we put it on a teapot, we put smoke, a citrus smoke, and it comes to the table like it was steaming, but it's not steaming. It's just put smoke, but it's an experience, right? So and it was what the top popular mocktail on the menu because people were just like, I want to have the experience of it, and that's the great part of it, right? So you can when you're making a mocktail menu, you cannot miss those those ideas just because you want to have the same experience. At the same time, you can elevate the price a little bit just because you're giving them action and some kind of experience to that mocktail.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so memorable too, I'm sure, like when you bring something so unique like that to the table, and whether or not it has alcohol in it or it doesn't, it's still serving the person who doesn't want the alcohol. But to your point, you can add, liquor if you need to or if you want to.
But it's the same thing about the experience. So normally guests are thinking, I'm going to have a non-alcoholic cocktail, and it doesn't come with nothing, right? So it's kind of like, but when you create an experience with that non-alcoholic cocktail, that actually brings them more to, like, you can see that on their face, they become more happy, like, oh, you know what, I feel a little bit more important, that my colleague is getting a smoke old fashioned and they're doing all these things for him, but then actually for my non-alcoholic cocktail, they actually made something for me too. And you actually feel you're not breaking them apart from the experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess knowing that, and then of course, Uze, what you were talking about earlier, and this kind of ties into both of these, how are the global flavors and fusion trends influencing the beverage menus overall in luxury hotels? Like, what are some of the innovative kind of other cross-cultural drink creations that you've seen recently? And Michael, I think maybe, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I think, in general, the beverage industry and the bar industry has really evolved over the last few years, and very quickly, actually. Now it's become a very kind of sophisticated experience almost. And, coming from Asia Pacific in general, and in Asia especially, where kind of the beverage profession and the bar industry used to be a big kind of taboo before. No one really thought of the beverage industry or the bar industry as a proper profession. But now if you go over there, it's really become very sophisticated, very creative, and almost the bartenders are becoming like new kind of celebrity chefs almost, so like the Michelin starred chefs that's going around to do all of the kind of guest bartender programs. And in generally speaking, there's some really interesting things going on over here. I mean, in Asia, there's already a lot of kind of interesting ingredients. Obviously, fermentation is a big one, and you're seeing this not only in the cooking process, but also in the beverage process, where in bars, some bars are really looking to like full-grown labs and their own fermentation rooms and using very interesting ingredients. I mean, just in my previous city, there's one company who does an amazing job in terms of innovative cocktails, and I mean, I was just looking at some of their beverages that they're putting in, and they're using items like black garlic, which is native to like Taiwan and China in general, shiitake mushrooms, and one of the cocktails is called green curry colada, and and it's almost becoming like a dining experience, not just a secondary component, but actually the main ingredient. So you're seeing a lot of ingredients come through, and I think that's being transitioned over globally. And as you have people who are very well traveled and in the know-how of all these different ingredients, it's always becoming, how do I step that game up? How do I bring that wow factor and go and above the experience and the guest expectations, which it has always been about luxury hospitality, but now it's just going into the beverage component as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you find that you're getting your guests that are asking, like you mentioned, the fermentation room?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always like super curious. Are they asking to see it? Do they want to go back there? I would be like, oh, show me everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you have to incorporate that. Like, I mean, again, the fermentation room was at another bar that I experienced where they do that as a part of their experience. I think the bar is called Penicillin. So in Hong Kong, they're the first kind of sustainable bar where they go full cycle with all of the ingredients. They've got their own fermentation room, and the gentleman is very well known, industry leader, and he takes tours with the guests, and then you can book that experience. We've got a bar at Hong Kong called the Aubrey, of course, very famous as well. And the gentleman that leads that place over there, he's made a omakase experience, which generally speaking is more for dining, but he does it for a curated beverage program where they go through a full, I think, 8-course menu just on beverages. So it's really about kind of stepping up the game and providing a different experience.
Yeah, I feel like that's so important. And, you bring in the guests.
Yeah.
It's what they want. They want to be involved. Amy, did you want to say something? Did you have a question?
I just think about what Mike is saying, treating your bar as not a secondary destination, but now it can become a primary destination. I think about the bar. I'm not as familiar with Asia. I'm hoping to get over there more, but the Connaught in London, they are known aside from the hotel as a destination themselves. And, you just can look at the history of the place you're in and you can create a cocktail around that. People love those kind of stories. And I know storytelling gets kind of overused now, but it's really the key to capturing, loyal guests these days. So I love that.
Yeah, just on that, my previous bar that I was working at also, we used to do like, you normally do a wine pairing for the food menu. We used to do food pairing for the whiskey menu. So we used to do like a whiskey tasting series, and then we would introduce what food might pair well with this whiskey rather than the other way around. So it's really becoming the primary for enthusiasts who really kind of interested in these kind of obviously beverages and the whole beverage experience.
And that's where your profit margin lies, right?
Exactly.
So it just
Exactly.
makes really good business sense to get creative and put more effort into it.
That's exactly right.
It's so true. Okay, so I have another question for you guys, and this one really hits home for us at Drink. What are the strategies that luxury hotels are implementing to promote sustainability in their beverage programs, from sourcing to packaging and even down to like the last sip of your drink? Amy?
Ooh. Well, I think there's so many things I'd love to say, but I think the obvious one is really looking at your procurement process and your supply chain. And, you have to train your teams correctly to order right, to prevent food waste at the source rather than just thinking about diversion. And how do you repurpose, what is considered waste and turn it into ways to drink out of and part of that story. In addition, who those partners are, maybe they've been those partners for the past 20 years, doesn't mean they're always going to be those partners moving forward. Who are the ones that are going to help you accomplish those sustainability goals, I think is really, really important. And aligning, you know, your menu, gosh, your menu is like your most precious real estate. How can you not only tell that story, but highlight those sustainability partners and products and things that you want to drive your sales, because it's been proven placement on the menu, the uptake from the guest increases depending on where you put it. And then, you know, inspiring and engaging your staff, making them feel like they have ownership of it is so important. And how can you create events around this, you know, and drive revenue at the end of the day? And lastly, and this is really not because of you, Stacy. I mean, I love your product, but you are a luxury hotel giving a luxury experience. Even if that glassware is compostable, to the guest, it's still, if you're outside, they still think it's plastic. They're not looking at the bottom of it necessarily. So elevating that glassware, a luxury guest really takes pride in the way it consume their beverage. So investing in that upfront ability to create that end-to-end experience is so important. And then you see the ROI, especially with your products, and they're beautiful. So those are the ones off the top, but I don't want to, you know, go on forever.
Thank you. I mean, I do feel for certain things, like for us, for example, in the outdoor experience, when you're having cocktails outside, you know, you're paying a premium price for a cocktail. And then if you get it in plastic, then you're like, wait a minute, like what? Why am I like, this is no good, you know? And I do think at the end of the day, more and more people and guests, they are looking to see what everyone else is doing in the world of sustainability. Like, what are you doing? They want to be able to support the places that are doing that. You do see that, you know, across the board. It is becoming a box that they are, you know, wanting to check. So I think it's just important that, you know, at the end of the day, what are luxury brands and hotels doing to really support and see that? Because they are the ones with a curated menu, a curated experience that can probably afford to do that and really start that change. And so I love that most of you guys, actually all of you guys, I understand are incorporating that into your process. It's really important and it's huge. Good for the guests, good for the environment.
And it's such a feel-good moment. I think we overlook just that word and the feeling of having some kind of impact. If somebody thinks they're having even a small impact on what they're consuming, why wouldn't you elevate that experience with that feel-good moment as well? Just creates more loyalty, I think.
Absolutely. JP, did you want to say something? Or Alfredo?
Is the word sustainability sometimes is scare people. They think that is only waste, and you don't know how many amazing things you can do with different ingredients. So I think it's more about knowledge and as well working hand to hand with the kitchen, just to make sure, you know, for past experience. So we had for example, the avocado. So the restaurant that I used to work, we sell a lot of guacamole, right? So I told them, do not throw out the pits. I can do something with the pits. And they were like, what are you going to do with the pits? Don't worry. So we actually cleaned the pits. We put it on the oven, slow temperature. It gets this nutty flavor, right? So then after that, you just add water, sugar, and you make kind of an orgeat syrup based on avocado pits. And then you use that on your Mai Tais. And the guest doesn't even know that this is actually avocado, that is orgeat made of avocado pits, but they actually love it. They're like, oh, there's something different on this, but I love it. And it's those type of things, like it's the knowledge and how you can use that product multiple ways, and then until you get to the point that, all right, I cannot do anything else with this product, and then just find I don't know, find a farm or something that it can be able just to give it away to their animals, you know, but you know, it's all about knowledge. It's all about knowing what you can do with that product at the end of the day.
That's so creative. I love it.
So cool. And such a great PR. Again, you know, you can create a story around anything and get some good buzz and press for it.
Alfredo, did you want to jump in?
Yes, and I think also like, we have a great opportunity to promote the change through our menus, which I think in our hands somehow the responsibility to kind of like leave a better world for the coming generations. And whenever we talk and educate more the people, I think people is going to start like drinking more responsibly. And it's a great, great opportunity. And it comes from like just kind of like nowadays, all the information, you can have it in like, in the palm of your hand with your cell phone. So the fact that like we are trying to look for these suppliers, these winemakers that are making things different, these tequila producers, these whiskey producers, the ones that are honest, the ones that are disclosing what they are putting in their products, the people that is kind of like using more organic practices, it kind of creates a small change, right? And we all kind of like join in this venture of kind of like researching, doing better things, looking for better products, and try to put the information at the end. All we do is talking to guests all the time, kind of like showing them what are the new trends, what are the new things. But it's also our responsibility to kind of like just show like, hey, this is the options that we have right now, right? Like choose wisely. We're not gonna tell you what to drink, but we're gonna provide you with information, and then it's up to you if you decide to go with this one or this one. But at least it's important that I think more and more we're incorporating these practices, even like biodynamics, of like if it's like a social responsible company, things like that. I think providing that information through our programs, it's slowly making a change, and you can see in the trend of like what beverage and what consumer is drinking more and more.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the fact that you're putting it in front of them, even as an option, if they don't pick it, you're still providing it as an option, which a lot of places just don't even do. They don't think they have the bandwidth to do it. But I feel like it's when you get creative about things, or when you have a goal and a mission, the ability to do it, it's there. And it doesn't always have to be crazy expensive, but you can tell a story around it, and it does make a world of difference. And sometimes when you provide that option, to your point, they might pick it and not even know that they're doing something better for the planet. They're picking it because maybe it does taste better, or maybe, this or that. But just to have it as an option is a huge plus and a massive win. So that's great. Okay, next question. With focus, or the increased focus on health and wellness, how are luxury hotels incorporating more of like the functional beverages into their menus? Like, what are some popular health promoting ingredients being used? Anyone want to take that one?
All right. So so on my last property, the Ritz-Carlton in Naples. So we actually have a kitchen for the bar, right? So, and that's when we do our fresh juices with all the sustainable process happens in there. But we are right in front of the beach, so we have guests waking up early, just having their morning run. And then we start playing out with different ingredients, ginger shots, turmeric shots, carrot juice, our green juice, everything was just made in-house, right? And we actually put them on small bottles, and we create stations. So on either on the by the pool, so when the by the beach, so when the guests finish their run, they actually can come in, and instead of having a bottle of water just to refresh, they can just grab a ginger shot, carrot and orange juice, turmeric. But they're the way it looks, the packaging and everything, we do it in-house. So it's all happening in-house. So it's for the guests, it's a different experience, right? It's something that is a little bit more elevated. We are not buying it from somewhere else. We just make it everything in-house, and it's fresh. So it's actually made on the day at the hotel. So we had the story from it. We actually can give them tours of the we call it the commissary kitchen. And we can give them the tour, and in the morning they're going to see the team just working out on making the garnishes for the outlets, on making the fresh juice for the outlets, on making the same juice that they're drinking at for after the workout. So
I love that. I mean, it's I think about like going to or on vacation, and you're at one of these beautiful properties, and you want to relax, you want to try to be healthy, you want to try to kind of reset your body. So options like that, I mean, oh my gosh, I would be at that juice bar every morning. Just because you feel like you're doing something productive, in that case, you're being healthy, you're being proactive about that, but having options like that, I really do believe wellness right now, it is such an important topic. It ties into, the travel experience. It ties into sustainability. It ties into everything we're talking about. It's important, and people definitely definitely have that on their agenda when they're traveling, especially if they're wanting to relax and, take some real time for themselves,
I think wellness and sustainability just go hand in hand. It's like such an obvious merriment. And even, you're talking about leisure travelers, but the business traveler too, right? They want to know that they're doing something good to keep their longevity and to be at their best. But I was thinking about you, Stacy, like I want to get healthy in the morning and then I want to drink these drinks at night. So having both of those things, win-win.
They offset each other. It's true. So, okay, one of my like absolute favorite things to do when I do go out for a cocktail after I've juiced up in the morning and gotten all healthy is when you go, into the bars and that scene, I love to watch the bartenders and the mixologists create all of these like beautiful drinks. And I think it was you, Michael, that said these are storytellers, right? And as they're doing that, it's so cool to see how they elevate the drinks. And in the realm of luxury and more premiumization, what are you seeing in the offerings that they're coming up with, including the high-end ingredients and, exclusive releases, if you will, and these sophisticated presentations? Are you seeing anything kind of like really crazy come out of your spaces? He's gonna do it.
Okay, I'm gonna go then. No one's getting sick of me. We have created some of the coolest like events and partnered with conservation groups and very high-end events. So give you a great example, Billion Oyster Project in New York is trying to plant 1 billion oysters to get water quality better in the area and bring back biodiversity. So we have a hotel that has a private club. We've taken their members, created an exclusive event with a really high-end champagne brand and not bringing in those oysters, but bringing in oyster purveyors and then someone from Billion Oyster Project to talk about the work they're doing, how important it is to everyone. And, I think those are the things that really just they creep in, they teach people, but then they find themselves being advocates themselves. And they had a great time. They were included in an elevated event. And it's just, it was really cool. So we've done some other things like that. So I think there's a really great opportunity. People think about conservationists or environmentalists, and it's like, oh, that doesn't go hand in hand with luxury, but it does. You just have to get a little creative with it.
And I think also by creating and elevating experiences is really important. Kind of like sometimes it's about the price, but sometimes it's also about the experience, right? In one of my previous property, we have like a full grower champagne list, which it was like already kind of an experience. Just kind of like going there, being able to sit in Florida and enjoy something unique that is very rare even in France, like kind of like just getting something that is not the traditional brands. And we create this experience that it was more kind of like talking to the chef and the sommelier about like caviar and champagne, right? And it was kind of like what we would do with your friends, because we always explaining that it was kind of like we all the time between the industry fellows, we like to talk about champagne or the wine or spirits and food, but we just like sometimes we don't do it in like a luxury setting. We just do it in our houses. We are doing it with our friends. We just share our ideas and kind of like providing that experience or taking this to like our customers. It was a great experience. People love it. It was more kind of like what we drink whenever we're off. And I think, yeah, like sometimes, you want to enjoy like a nice glass of champagne with some chicken, and it can be elevated, or enjoy some lambrusco with pizzas, or just kind of like, like sometimes it's not gonna be margaritas for tequila all the time. You can also enjoy like Mexican high-end cuisine with some tequila, things like that. So I think there's multiple ways to elevate the experience. And some of these programs, what I have seen with some of my coworkers and other programs that are doing, it's amazing. I think like the more people can relate to our programs, the more people will kind of like experience it, and it somehow elevate the experience.
Absolutely.
I'll drink champagne and tequila with anything. So I love that off pairing.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's so true. And what's interesting too about all of these experiences, a lot of the guests, they'll go home, or at least for me anyway, whenever I have one of these like amazing experiences. I go home, I try to recreate it. I tell all my friends about it. They come over, we try to do it. It's never as good, but you have fun doing it. And then, you know, you're telling everybody about this amazing experience you had at this property. And, you know, word gets around, and actually that just happened recently, where a friend of mine texted me, what was the name of that place over in London and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, you retell the story and that experience, and it's part of it, you know, and food and drink play so much into, you know, everything. So it's really important.
And food and drinks at the end are memories, right? I have people here in LA that like, there was this guest that like start crying over a glass of wine. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And she was like, I'm so sorry. I had this wine like 10 years ago in Italy. So it's really special for me. I thought I will never have it again. So kind of like these kind of like situations are kind of moving, you know, because then at the end, the fact that like you can connect through wine and spirits, it's a great opportunity, you know. And then whenever you're there able to find something that reminds them for a specific moment and a specific time or a person, it's a great opportunity. And I think that's something that people for sure is going to remember, right? Like, I don't think if you have like a for your anniversary or whatever bottle of something, you're always going to remember that bottle. It's going to be just special no matter what it is. And then like if we can kind of like put a little bit of an experience right there on our side as a restaurant, as a hotel, I think it changed the whole experience in the restaurant.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Oh man, thank you guys. Okay, we're coming up on time, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. To close, again, thank you all for being here, to our amazing panelists. We appreciate your time, and thanks for everyone for joining the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar series, and to Drink for making it possible. You can find the webinar on the ilha.org under resources. And please share, continue to comment, reach out. We want to hear from you. And again, thank you guys. Thanks for everything. It was a really great discussion. I was glad to be able to do this with all of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So much for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Have a
too.
great day. Thank you.
Meet the hotel industry's biggest leaders at Inspire Luxury Hospitality Conference. Back for its 16th year, Inspire 2025 is held in November in Prague and December in Las Vegas. It's the premier event for luxury hospitality. Land deals, learn strategy, and explore innovation. Visit us at inspire.ilha.org.